Section 4.2, we're going to simplify some expressions. Okay, the first thing is, what's an expression? An expression is just a combination of variables and letters. Variables, letters, same thing. Variables and numbers using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we're going to have things like 2x plus 5x. Now, I hope you would have seen this before, and I would hope you would immediately tell me that 2x and 5x makes 7x. If we were in a classroom, I would ask you why. And really what you're doing here, kind of weird to think of it this way, but really what you're doing is you're using the distributive property backward. So you're thinking that this as 2 plus 5 times x. Use the distributive property, you get the 2x plus 5x. So really you can just add the numbers up front and you get 7x. Okay? I'm hoping you've seen that before, hoping you don't have a big problem with that. So we're going to have some things a little more complicated than that. Maybe negative 8x minus 1 plus 3x minus 4. And we talked about this a little bit in section 4.1. Really what we're doing here is we're going to use the commutative property and the associative property to group what we call like terms. And what we mean by like terms, things are like when they have exactly the same variable and they have exactly the same powers on the variables. So in this case, what I see is I have some like terms here. I've got this one has an x and that one has an x. And then I've got this one which is just a number and that one which is just a number. So really what we do is we use the commutative property. We rewrite this as negative 8x plus 3x minus 1 minus 4. Basically, I interchanged the negative 1 and the 3x. I now group and combine my like terms. Negative 8x plus 3x is negative 5x, and negative 1 minus 4 is minus 5. So there's my answer on that. And again, I wouldn't necessarily expect you to show that middle step. I would kind of hope that you could group the like terms in your head and just put them together. Now, sometimes will be yet a little bit more complicated than that. We might have 5 times t minus 8 minus 6t. All right, a little bit more complicated. What we need to do with this one, of course, we need to get rid of those parentheses first. So we need to use our distributive property. So that would be 5t minus 40 minus 6t. And then again, I would hope you would recognize that you have like terms there. Combine those. 5t minus 6t is minus t. And then we still have the minus 40. All right, a couple more of these. How about if we had 3a minus 2 times 3a plus 4 plus 5. All right, need to be a little bit more careful on this one. We got to follow the order of operations. And the order of operations begins with parentheses. Well, there's really not much we can do with those parentheses. We can't do anything on the inside of those parentheses. So that tells us we go to the next thing in the order of operations. The next thing in the order of operations would be this multiply. So I need to take this negative 2, and remember that it is a negative. It's easy to lose that minus sign, and distribute that inside to my parentheses. So that's going to give me 3a minus 6a. And here's the one people will miss. It needs to be minus 8. That's where people will drop their minus sign right there. They'll write plus 8. And then we have a plus 5 on the end. All right, well, now we're in good shape. We've got like terms. We've got some a's. We've got some numbers. We put them all together. We have negative 3a minus 3. How about 4 minus 5 times x plus 2y plus 7y. Again, follow the order of operations very carefully. This is one where I will see students make a very simple mistake. All right, so I see parentheses. I look at my parentheses. I notice I have different variables. I have an x and I have a 2y and I'm trying to add. I can't do that. In order to add, They got to have the same variable. So now I go to the next thing outside the parentheses. The next thing outside the parentheses is to distribute this minus 5 through. So that's going to be 4 minus 5x minus 10y plus 7y. Combine up my like terms. There's not a lot of them. I've got a 4, I've got a minus 5x, and then I have two pieces with y's. So I put those together, minus 3y. Now let me show you the common mistake I will see students make on this. So this one's going to be a mistake. It's going to be wrong. Don't do it this way. 4 minus 5 times x plus 2y plus 7y. What I will see students do is they'll do 4 minus 5 first. And so they'll write minus 1 times x plus 2y plus 7y. Why is that wrong? Well, it's wrong because this minus 5 is connected to this parenthesis by a multiplication. You have to do that multiplication before you can do the 4 minus 5. Okay, so it's a very common mistake that I see. And again, it comes down to the order of operations, which I think I told you was one of the most important things you're going to get out of this course, is doing the order of operations correctly. You cannot do the 4 minus 5 first. You need to do the distributing first and take care of that. All right, how about one more problem here? I see we got some problems that have some fractions in them. I think we ought to do one of them. How about 7x minus 1/3 times 6x plus 9. Once again, we have parentheses, but we see we can't do anything inside the parentheses, so we go outside the parentheses. We have to multiply by a 1/3. So that's going to be 7x minus, what's 1/3 times 6? Well, think of 6 as being 6 over 1, so you've got a 6 on top and a 3 on bottom. You can reduce. You get 2x. And minus, once again, watching your minus sign there, because we are distributing the minus 1/3 through. Minus 1/3 times 9. Again, I think of 9 as being 9 over 1. I can reduce the 9 with the 3. I get a 3. Last step, combine my like terms, and I'm all done. 5x minus 3.